Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Head of the Department, Dr. B. Vijayaramnath, and coordinators, Mr. Ravi Kumar, Mr. Babu, and Mr. Ravindran. Thank you. First of all, I wish to congratulate for conducting these kind of research workshops, because unfortunately in recent days most of the parents and students are going towards computer science and related to the departments, computer science related engineering courses, because of the employability and opportunities. It's not a mistake, but it doesn't mean that mechanical lost its originality. Mechanical have very good technologies such as artificial intelligence, 3D printing technology, thermal energy storage, battery thermal management, solar energy utilization, and so on. So I think this kind of meets will influence our, it will develop, or it will create some awareness among students and parents as well as faculty members. So once again I congratulate Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sairam Engineering College for conducting this event. Let me go to the session. I will start with a small proverb: love learning and you shall be learned. Love learning and you shall be learned. When you love learning, you shall be projected into any kind of extent. You will be projected into any or maximum height. So I will start with a small story from Ramayana. Ramayana is one of the two Indian epics. So in this, at the end of the session, there was a war between Rama and Ravana. The war is about to end. It was a dawn, that is the intermediate period between evening and night. So it is the last bow to Ravana from Rama. So it strikes out Ravana fall down. So almost Ravana about to die. In this situation, Rama want to know what is the success behind Ravana. So he called his brother Lakshmana. Lakshmana, you go and ask, what is the secret behind his success? Even though he is an enemy, he is a great king of kingdom. Then Lakshmana went to Ravana. He asked, what is my brother want to know, what is the secret behind your success of developing the great kingdom of Sri Lanka? Then he said, Ravana said, if you want, let him come and ask. And again, Lakshmana come back to Rama. He replied what Ravana conveyed. Then Rama went to Ravana, stood in front of him and folded his hands. Very humbly he asked, Ravana, you are a great king of this kingdom. How did you develop this kingdom? What is the secret behind your success? Then Ravana said, Rama, you know everything. You are respecting your enemy. So you have all the qualities, and you have humbleness and keen for the learning. So that keen interest you are showing on the learning, that will make you one day as a king of a great kingdom. So then Ravana died. So as per his statement, Rama became great king of Ayodhya and ruled for several years after a certain period of time. The story ends like this. So how can I relate this to this place? So the research is continuous learning. So research also a learning process. It influences other researchers. So whatever the things, I'm not saying I'm the specialist in this. So whatever the information I collected, I'm going to present here. The question, how I improved my research skills. If this question put in front of us, we are thinking about there are a lot of metrics, there are a lot of measurements for quantifying individual research and as well as journal research. How can we categorize? How can we find out where we are in the research in respect of research? So maybe this presentation will give you a little bit clarity to answer this question. Measuring productivity in science. There are two options in measuring productivity in science. Option one, number of papers published. Option two, attempt to measure the quality. Number of papers, it emphasizes only, the first option is number of papers published. This metric emphasizes only quantity of papers. It doesn't meet the quality of requirements. It may not influence any trace on other researches. Attempt to measure quality, this will influence some traces on the other researches and developments. As the paper has been cited by others, as the paper influenced the field. So the answer will be the second option. The quality is important than quantity. That is nothing but citations. Citations are the fee paid through transfer of some of the attention earned by the citing author to the cited author. So it is the fee paid by citing author to the cited author. Next, why do we evaluate scientific output? Why to evaluate, why to quantify the scientific output from the author or journal? Nowadays the PhD scholars, the foremost thing is they need to get published a Scopus journal or SCA journal to get published in a good journal. The grant allocations or funding allocations for that the scientific output to be measured. Policy decisions, the decisions taken by the industry or institution, they require to evaluate the scientific output of the people, researchers, as well as journal. Promotion policies, then research, hiring, making the right investment to measure the individual, to measure or quantify the individual's research capability. For all these things, we need to evaluate the scientific output. Research metrics. The research metrics plays vital role in understanding and evaluating an individual researcher's output as well as journal quality. So the research metrics, the major advantage of research metrics include recognition, reputation, visibility, and authentication. So the research metrics are nothing but to quantify a research output of an individual as well as institution as well as the journals. Now let me define what are all research metrics. Research metrics are also called as bibliometrics. The application of mathematics and statistical methods to assess science as an informational process. Through an informational process to assess the science, that is research metrics. That is the purpose of research metrics. Next is the citation databases and bibliometric indicators. This is what I am going to cover in my today presentation. Majorly we have 3 citation databases and some of the listed research metrics here. The citation databases are classified into Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar. Research metrics are classified into journal metrics, author metrics, article metrics, alt metrics, institution metrics. First, let us talk about citation databases. Citation databases, the first one is Web of Science. Let us look at Web of Science database. So Web of Science, previously it is known as Web of Knowledge, and it is a search of world's leading scholarly journals, books, proceedings in the sciences, social sciences, and arts and humanities, and navigate the full citation network. This website provides a subscription-based access to multiple databases that provide comprehensive citation data for many different academic disciplines. It was originally produced by Institute for Scientific Information and is currently maintained by Clarivate Analytics. Let us know about ISI. You might have known. ISI is Institute for Scientific Information. The founder of this institution is Eugene Garfield. He was an informational scientist. He proposed citation indices in 1956 and 55 or 56. And from this Institute for Scientific Information, journal impact factor has been found in 1960. Then they released journal citation reports from 1960 onwards. Web of Science is the tool to provide the database for this ISI. It is recently purchased, not recently, well back it is purchased by Thomson Reuters. Recently it is maintained by Clarivate Analytics. Thomson Reuters, initially it was a multimedia company. Actually, Eugene Garfield started Institute for Scientific Information in Philadelphia, with the head office of in Toronto, Canada. Now let us see about Clarivate Analytics. Clarivate is a company formed in 2016 following the acquisition of Thomson Reuters intellectual property and science business. The Clarivate was formerly the intellectual property and science division of Thomson Reuters. So the Clarivate Analytics database differ from the traditional indexing of other indexing. It entirely differs the other indexing processes and extracting services in several ways. From the outset, we can find Science Citation Index, SCI. Now it is converted into SCIE, Science Citation Index Expanded. That some of the core collection has been added to the SCI, so it is called SCIE. Then Social Sciences Citation Index, SSCI, Art and Humanities Citation Index, A and HCI, Emerging Source Citation Index, ESCI. So you might have heard this word because recently many people started publishing in ESCI. Initially it was not identified. Nowadays it is considered as high quality journal like SCI. So the Conference Proceeding Citation Index, CPCI, Book Citation Index, BCI. The Web of Science core collection indices. Let us explore those collections. So Science Citation Index Expanded. It is a search across 9,200 world's most impactful journals across 178 scientific disciplines. Social Science Citation Index, SSCI. It is a search across over 3,400 world's most impactful journals across 58 social disciplines. More than 9 million records of 122 million cited references date back from 1900 to present. So Arts and Humanities Citation Index, AHCI. It is a search across 1,800 of world most impactful journals across 28 arts and humanities disciplines. The next, Emerging Source Citation Index. I already told you, some of the good journals are listed in Emerging Source Citation Index. One thing, few journals listed in Emerging Source Citation Index may not be included in Scopus. Even then, it is very good index to journals when it is listed in ESCI. The search across over 7,800 of world's highest quality of journals across 254 disciplines. Then coming to the Conference Proceeding Citation Index, CPCI, this multidisciplinary index is the fastest way to gain the access to cutting edge impactful research. So if you want to get the fast access of our research impact, then we can publish in the Conference Proceeding Citation Index to journals. Then Book Citation Index, it consists of 1,04,500 editorially selected books with the 10,000 new books added each year. The next is another index, it's a current chemical reactions and index chemicals. It consists of drawing, molecular structure of chemicals or geometrical structure, all these things maintained by this current chemical reaction and index. Now let us come to the Web of Science products. So what are the products from the Web of Science? So Web of Science products providing data, analytics, insights, workflow tools, and so on, related to universities, research institutions, governments, private and public research funding organizations. So it gives information about all these things. It has certain following products. The Web of Science platform, which will provide the core collections of journals. You can find the individual as well as journal informations. EndNote nothing but it's a software tool used in the industry. It is used for benchmarking the industry. Insights is enables to benchmark the institution for the institution purpose. Journal citation reports. This is released by same ISI. Journal citation reports will give you the impact factor of journals every year, and it lists the journals. Essential science indicators. This is also enables to benchmark the institution purpose. Scholar One, it is a tool to connect reviewers, authors, and editors. So you might have know when we are uploading the journals, it says Scholarly One articles or like that. So it is a platform to connect all these people: author, editor, and reviewers. Publons. This is also one more website to provide the information of Web of Science based data of individuals. This is also product of WOS. Converies. Actually, the Converies, it is a tool to provide the information about funding agencies, the funding procedures, all these things. Then Hend.click. This platform will give you to download the PDF formats of the informations. Next, everybody might have experienced about this platform, Web of Science. When you go to Google search, if you type www.webofscience.com. Previously, it is called www.webofknowledge.com. Now it is changed as www.webofscience.com. So when you click in the Google, you will be getting the window after opening the this. So this Web of Science brings out a large number of core collections. All cited references for all publications are fully indexed, searchable. The search across all authors and author affiliations. You can track the citation activity with the citation alerts. You can see citation activity and trends graphically with the citation report. You can also analyze the results to identify the trends and publication patterns. So here we are having a dialog box. Even you can add. So if you use add row here, you can go for multiple search here. Here, when it comes down, time span. So with 5 years time span, we can get the collections. Suppose if you want to find out some a technical term PCM. Like when you type PCM, all the PCM related journals will be coming out. So wherever the PCM word is in the journal, even though it is abstract or conclusion, wherever it is, it brings out all the collections and volumes of the papers. So you can access through your institution, because your institute has to get the access for Web of Science. See, I'm accessing this through Koneru Lakshmi Education Foundation through my university. The next is Web of Science. You have basic search, author search, cited reference search, advanced search. If you go for author search, you can type your name. You can get your information. Suppose I typed my name G Murali. When you click find, I'll be getting all my databases. Here, working in Kerala University, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. I have 16 publications from Web of Science core collections, and all other H-index, all these things will come. But this information may differ from Scopus, that let me tell you in the Scopus session. Then, if you go to more settings, when you go to more settings here, please look at the bottom of the jar. Web of core collection, you have science citation index expanded, conference CP, CI, science, and conference proceeding citation index, social science and humanities, emerging. So all type of Web of Science journals papers you can access. So that is the option for this. You can go for the all years. This option can be used for tracking the 5 years information related to the research. So other than that, it has you can go for journal citation report. The top, you see the top options: Web of Science, Insights, Journal Citation Reports, Essential Science Indicators, EndNote, Publons. So all the things you can access through Web of Science database. If you go to Journal Citation Reports, you can access listed top 500 journals in the world. For example, I just taken one more. I'll tell you that. One more, you can go for addition of search boxes. When you go for add row, you can go for multiple searches to get the clarity of information. The years, I told you, the option, year option, last 5 years, year to date, last 4 weeks, last 2 weeks, current week, like we can access the information, Web of Science informations. And actually I listed top 500 journals that will be coming in the, I will be telling you in the impact factor session. So this is about Web of Science. Next Web of database is Scopus. Scopus, everybody nowadays, it is most popular and recognized database for institutional purpose mainly. The positioning itself as an alternative to ISI. It may not equivalent, but it may be a substitute for Institute for Scientific Information. It consists of more journals from smaller publishers and open access, more than 15,000 collections, 750 conference proceedings. Source data back to 1960. So excellent for physical and biological sciences, poor for social sciences. It does not cover humanities or arts. So better international coverage, 60% of titles are non-US. Not cover to cover and not up to date. Some of the disadvantages are here. Citation tracker works up to 1,000 records only. It has limited downloading options. Then what is Scopus? Already I told you, these are all the repository digital archives. So 400 web pages, more than 500 conference proceedings. All these consisted by Scopus. So in the picture you can see these are all the things contained by the Scopus. Scopus coverage, unique titles, 15,100 unique titles. In that life and health and chemistry, physics, engineering, 4,500, 5,900 life and health, then 2,500 biological, agricultural, environmental collections, 2,700 social science, psychology, economics collections. These are all coverage by Scopus. And the histograms in Scopus, you might have seen when you go for author search, by means of author profile, if you search, you can get more comprehensive way of evaluating an author. Using author search, Scopus gives us 3 different graphs: the H-index graph, number of papers, number of citations. The H-index may differ from database to database, depends upon their collections and volumes. For example, H-index is almost sometime more than the Web of Science. It depends upon the quality, all these things. When you compare with, if you have H-index of 5 in Web of Science, sometimes you may have 7 in Scopus, you may have 9 in Google Scholar. It depends on the collections available in the databases. See here, these are all the histograms, histogram graphs in Scopus. Number of articles. So the first picture indicates number of articles, number of citations. This one is H-index plot. H-index plot. When you search for an author profile, if you go to Google search, when you search Scopus by author profile, you'll be getting like that. Again, I just put my name. It's not a big profile, but I just, for example, I kept author name Murali, author first name, then affiliation. If you keep, anyway, everybody practice this one. This page will appear. So even you can go to Mendeley. That is another research social website. See here, histograms are there, and information related to H-index, citations, everything is there. Next, Google Scholar. Let me talk about Google Scholar. It's a common platform available with free of cost. So it is better coverage for all citations as relative retrieve the web. I think you may not require much information about Google Scholar. You might have accessed from long back itself. So it very limited search options, no separate cited author search, but now it is available. Before it is not there. When Google Scholar, the specialty of Google Scholar is I-10 index. I-10 index is most popular index throughout the world. So when you go to Google Scholar search, you'll be getting the window like this. When you search by your name or by the terminologies, you'll be getting the collections. See here, this is the dialog boxes, name, affiliation. If you keep, you'll be getting your profile. Next, that's all about the little thing I have discussed about databases related to research metrics. Next, research metrics. Research metrics classified, already I said that it is classified into journal metrics, author metrics, article metrics, alt metrics, institution metrics. So let me brief. Journal metrics, it is used to quantify the quality of journals. Author metrics, it is used to find out the performance of an individual scientist or researcher. Article metrics, which is used for citation tracking, it can be determined for an article, book, journal, for all these things. Alt metrics, other than traditional way of finding the metrics, other than Scopus, other than all these things, if you are tracked by means of Facebook, if you are tracked by means of Twitter, all these social websites, other than web blogs, posts, by means of that, if you are getting feedback, or this is called alt metrics. If your performance is measured in terms of all these websites, it is alternate to the traditional metrics. that is called altmetrics. Institutional metrics, which is used for quantifying the research quality of institutions. Now, these are all there are many number of research metrics. In my collections, just I have collected these research metrics. In this, author impact is classified into H index, G index, M index, item index, and Scopus. Journal impact can be found from impact factor, SGR, then Simoga journal ranking, it is called, eigenfactor, Scopus, SNP, normalized impact factor, that is. So these things we are just going to brief here. First, let me talk about impact factor. Already we have seen this slide. Again, Eugene Garfield is the founder for Institute for Scientific Information. This ISI has released the first time impact factor in 1960. So he defined the impact factor, the definition for impact factor, that is released by Journal of Science Citation Reports. So birth of Science Citation Index in 1955, the citation indexes for science, a new dimension in documentation through association of ideas. So nowadays everything is available in the software platform, but initially everything is maintained as a print. So this ISI maintained everything. The journal impact factor is released in 1960. That is used for citation analysis as a tool in journal evaluation. So journals can be ranked by frequency and impact of citations for the science policy and studies. This statement given by Eugene Garfield. He is the creator of this journal impact factor. Definition, there are many definitions for impact factor. I can go with the impact factors calculated yearly starting from 1975 for the journal listed in Journal Citation Report. So the journal impact factor is average number of times articles from the journal published in the past 2 years have been cited in JCR, Journal Citation Report. If any given year, 2-year journal, if you want to calculate journal impact factor for any journal, at least we need 2 years of service of the journals. So when you are measuring the impact factor in current year, at least the previous 2 years should be encountered. Let us see how the impact factor is calculated for any journal. Impact factor of the year X is equal to the number of citations to the journal X in the past 2 years. When current measurement here, from the current measurement years, past 2 years should be considered the number of citations to journals. And to the, it is a ratio between this and number of total citable items by journal X in the past 2 years. If, for example, for any journal X in 2012, if they are calculating impact factor, the 2010 and 11, 2010 320 citation, 2011 225 citation, both sum can be added. Here the citation for the total number of citable items, the number of journals is kept in the as a denominator. So 545 divided by 11, 4.91. For example, if your journal, 20 journals are produced, it is cited 10 times during the 2 years. The 10 by 20 will give you 0.5. So 0.5 is the impact factor for the particular journal. If you want to visualize, so you can visualize by seeing this. In this, they are calculating 2018 journal impact factor. So it is a ratio between 2018 citations to all items published in 2016 and 17 divided by the citable items published, the number of publication in 2016 and 17. Just number of citation in the 2 years divided by number of publication in the 2 years. That's it. See here 2018, the before that 2016 and 17. So these citations divided by number of papers published in the consecutive 2 years. So that will give you the impact factor. So this also the same formula. For example, Nature had impact factor of 41.577 in 2017, not now. Now it is having more than 74. In 2017 calculation, citations of 2016 plus citations of 2015 divided by publications of 2016 plus publications of 2015. That will give you 41.577. This is the impact factor. The Nature is considered as most impact factor in engineering technological field, but medical journals have more impact than technological journals. The top 500 ranking only due to the space insufficiency. We just have kept some of the journals released by JCR, Journal Citation Report in 2019. See here, Cancer Journal for Clinicians. This is having 223.679 impact factor. So imagine the citations in the particular 2 years. Next one is Nature Review Materials, 74.449 impact factor. So followed by there are a lot of high impact factor journals are ranked here. Then for our purpose, just I listed SCI expanded, ESC. Engineering purpose, these three are important database for titles and abstracts. So already we have discussed about Science Citation Index, Emerging Source Citation Index, and Scopus Index. So let me skip this slide. Now let me talk about H-index. Originally, H-index was designed to measure the individual's scientific excellence. H-index can be calculated for institute, journal, individual, and country also. So this is proposed by J. Hirsch in 2005. Hirsch proposed the index H defined as number of papers with citation number greater than or equal to H. As useful index, it is used to characterize the scientific output of a researcher. This is the person Hirsch. So with this first name, the indexing is named H index like that. Actually, PNAS, that is the publications for him. This is the paper what he proposed. The H index, for the H index, I propose the index H defined as the number of papers with the citation number greater than or equal to H. Number of papers with citation number greater than or equal to H. So these are all the decisions done by J. Hirsch. Let us see the what is H index. It rates a scientist's performance based on his career, publications measured by a lifetime number of citations each article receives. So it depends on both quantity as well as quality. H index, the number of papers with citation number greater than or equal to H, already said. If H index is H5, for an example, if H index for a particular researcher is 5 research paper of entity having been cited minimum 5 or more times. 5 or more times. Each research paper has to be cited at least 5 or more than 5 times. So example, a scientist with H index of 37 has 37 papers cited at least 37 times. So we can understand by seeing the graph very easily. Here the number of citations are equal to the number of, because this graph plotted between papers and citations. The H index is the point at which the papers equal to the citations, or some papers may have more than the citations. So you see here, we have a tabulation. For example, this is researcher papers are listed with the citations. The first paper have citations 8. For example, if this H index is 5, first paper citations 8, yes, it is more than 5. Second paper, it is 4, it is less than 5, so we cannot consider. The third paper, more than 5. Fourth paper, citations are more than 7. Fifth paper, more than 5. Sixth paper, 3. Seventh paper, 10. Yes, you can consider the all yes remarks. So there are 5 papers cited more than 5 times. So the H index is 5. Even we can go with some more example. See here, this person also have 5, even though his fourth article is cited 50 times. So for that the H index will not get changed. Only five research articles cited 5 times or more than 5 times. See here, this example, this research person have first paper 60 citations, second paper 120 citations. Even though citations are more, we cannot say the H index is 60 or 50 like that. Because these two research citation more than 2 times cited. H index is 2. I think these examples are sufficient. The advantage of H index allows the direct comparison with the disciplines. It is most popular and most acceptable index throughout the world. Nowadays, they are started to accept, even though many other mechanisms, many other index is available. Disadvantage does not give an accurate measure for early career researchers, calculated by using only articles that are indexed in the Web of Science. If the researcher publishes an article, a journal that is not indexed by Web of Science, if it is not indexed in Web of Science, that will not calculate. If some other journals are there, that is the big disadvantage. That is why we are losing some of the papers, even though it is in Scopus. It may not be in Web of Science. G index, it is a new methodology to find the G index. Let us give the definition. I will explain the tabulation. G index is calculated in a way when you are ranking, and the number of articles ranked in decreasing order of number of citations that they received. Then the G index is the largest number such that the top G articles received at least G square citations. That means this G square less than or equal to this citation. Let me explain with the tabulation. This is the proposal. This is the journal published by Leo Ig. He proposed G index. Let us see the example. See the G index 2008. It is a publication, list of publication published by a researcher. 2008. This is ranked. 2008 70 citations, that should be ranked as first. 2009, 2009. So the each and every citations, the articles are ranked by means of citations. The number of articles ranked by means of citations. Then here the cumulative, the citations are cumulatively added. 70, then 70 plus 12, 82, then 82 plus 6, like the cumulative thing. Next is the rank square. We are already ranked the articles, the first article, second article, like that. That should be squared here. Calculate the square of the rank. So now how will you calculate the G index? See the see here G index, the highest rank where sum of the citations is larger than the square of the rank. Suppose if this person 2015 have some article with 0 citation, that will not be considered. Here this rank, square of the rank is 114 here. Square of the rank is 100 here. The cumulative citations, the total number of citations 114. So G index, the highest rank is 10 here, where sum of the citations 114 is larger than the square of the rank, larger than, it's more than 100. If you go again, it will not be make any changes here. Okay, so that we are taking 10 as the G index, 10 as G index. So G index is nothing but the highest rank where the sum of the citations is larger than the square of the rank. Sum of the citations is larger than the, here 114 is more than 100. So we can take this 10 as a G index. We cannot take this 100 or 114. So 10, the 10th ranked article, at the 10th ranked article, we have the sum, what is it? Sorry, the citation, sum of the citations is greater than the square of the rank. At that time, what is the rank? G index. That will be called as G index. So G index can be visualized by means of graph. It is the average number of citations. Here also it is equal. Let us go to advantages and disadvantages of G index. It accounts for performance of author's top articles. It helps to make more apparent for even this will be considered the low cited articles also. The disadvantage of G index introduced in 2006. A debate continues whether G index is superior or H index is superior. Might not be widely accepted as H index. The H index is accepted all over the globe, but it's not, even though it has some certain quality, because in this G index, the low cited journals or papers are considered. That is the thing. Then M index, one more index. This is also introduced by Hirsch, the person who introduced H index. The same person introduced here. The same paper. In the same paper, he gave another relations with the H index and number of years when a researcher is total publication in the time period. The relation is nothing but H is nearly equal to M into N. So M is the M index, N is number of years. If a person have 20, for example, according to him, example, a value of M is equal to 1. When the value of M in M index reaches 1, the H index of 20 after 20 years of scientific activity. After 20 years, he reaches H index of 20. That means he characterized as a successful scientist as per the dimension given by Hirsch. This is M index. Here you can see how to calculate the M index. See here, articles of a researcher listed from 2008 to 2014. The articles are ranked according to the citations. The year difference 2015, 2008, 2014. Actually, 15 they are calculating. So 2015 minus 2018 plus 1. This is the calculation by Hirsch. That is 8. The total H index of the person is 5. So 5 by 8 will give 0.63. So 0.63 is the M index. Suppose if the person crosses 20 years and if H index is 20, then M value become 1. That means he is a fulfilled researcher. According to him, he will be characterized as a experienced or good scientist, like that. So M index is to find a fulfilled scientist or fulfilled researcher if M is equal to 1. I10 index, I already told you, I10 index is most popular by Google Scholar. Even though Google Scholar database is not much familiar, it is familiar, but not like Web of Science or Google. But I10 index is very popular. It is created by Google Scholar. The number of publications with at least 10 citations. Any number of publications have more than 10 citations, that is included for I10 index. If 2 publications have 10 citations, then it is 2. So this is very simple measure, is only used by Google Scholar and is another way to help the gauge the productivity of a scholar. Advantages, very simple and straightforward to calculate. There is no any indirect calculations. My citation in Google Scholar is free, so it's free, easy to use. Disadvantage used only by Google, only in the Google, but even then it got much popular. So this is again for the calculation of I10 index. The first paper 102, second paper 21, third paper 45. So here the fifth paper 20, The citations I am telling. This sixth paper have 10 citations. So it refers to number of journal paper are cited at least 10 times by other journal papers. So here the number of at least 10 times cited papers are 5. So I10 index is 5. See here, just for the sake of interest, Charles Darwin. Here is a screenshot of Google Scholar, my citations page of Charles Darwin. He is having I10 index of 331. Actually, it was taken well before. I recently taken. Charles, you can see the histograms by Google Scholar that will give you number of citation, H index, I10 index, all these things. In year-wise publications and information will be given by the Google Scholar. Here you can see I10 index of Charles Robert Darwin is 657. Very interesting to see the things. And one more thing also I made, Albert Einstein. Look at the I10 index of Albert Einstein. I10 index is 385. And H index 113. Because H index varies between database to database. So next is SJR Simoga journal ranking. Simoga journal ranking, it's freely available. It is also from the Scopus database. That will give for productivity of journals. It gives the quality for the journals. Eigenfactor also calculated from journal citation reports. It is also the product of Institute for Scientific Information. So it is also calculated just like impact factor. Impact factor will be calculated for any journal for previous 2 years. But this is calculated for 5 years. But 5 years it should be cited in the JCR, Journal Citation Report, released every year. In that, for 5 years, how many times it is cited in Journal Citation Reports divided by how many number of publications got citable. So that will give you the eigenfactor. Eigenfactor and the impact factor both are similar, but only thing, eigenfactor calculated only from the Journal Citation Report released by Institute for Scientific Information. So the journal eigenfactor score is measured as importance to the scientific community, intended to reflect influence on prestigious journals. Article influence score. This is I'm not giving much importance to this. So advantages of eigenfactor, disadvantages: it can be accessible for free. It includes built-in evaluation period of 5 years. Attempts to give more accurate representation of merit of citations. Disadvantage: eigenfactor assigns journals to single category. And some argue that eigenfactor score is not much different than raw citation counts. So some arguments here also there. So there is no standard metrics till now. Everybody, when the metrics followed by somebody, which is popular, is one that will be used. The source normalized impact factor. This is also calculated by for the journals. This index mechanism can be used. This will be this also based on Scopus database. The source normalized impact factor is calculated. We go to Scopus page. When you search about any journals, we will get the SNP, SNIP. Here SNIP score 2015 is 50, like that. For a cancer journals, applicants. So let me conclude. So I think we might have get a little bit idea about metrics. So there is no standard one till now, but everybody follows. Nowadays, Scopus got very much familiar. Then remaining things. So above Science, Scopus, Google Scholar, all three are very good database to rank ourselves in the research field. So thank you all for the 1 hour patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So participants, if you have any kind of query, you can ask. Thank you so much, Murli sir. So very nice session.
Okay, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Once again, I thank Department of Mechanical Engineering for providing this opportunity, and thank you for all the participants for patient listening. This thing. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Murli sir, you can leave now. You can.
Okay, thank you, Ravi.
So participants, feedback link has been posted in the chat box. You can post your you can have your feedback. So this is the final session of our 3-day workshop. So after posting your feedback, you can leave. There is no valedictory actually. You all receive your certificates before tomorrow. You will be getting your certificates before tomorrow. Thank you so much for patiently participated for 3 days. I hope it will hinder you somewhere about all these. I speak about these sessions. It will give some kind of informations what you had searched, maybe what you had searched in the past. So thank you so much for attending. We hope we will again join in the future. Any kind of FDPs or workshop, we hope we'll join in the future, and you will all receive your certificates before tomorrow. So thank you so much. After posting your feedback, you can leave. Thank you so much for. You can leave. So don't worry about your certificate. You'll all receive.